Dispatcher, Nashville 911. What is the address of your emergency?
Somebody drove off the road and hit a tree.
In the Acura. In the Acura.
Are you with the vehicle?
Yeah, there's two people there.
Okay.
They're getting really bad. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sending the paramedics and the police department to help you now.
Soon after this 911 call, Nashville Police Department rushed to the crime scene. Upon arrival, they found an adult male and female inside the crashed car, both clearly dead for several hours. What the detectives next would discover.
Took them several hours to get there? Or they just crashed like several hours ago and they're just now getting there.
Would be a maze of twisted secrets hidden around the crime scene. Their bodies were purposefully positioned. The male was stuffed in the front, his face touching the floor and feet in the air, while the female was crammed in the back seat. This wasn't an ordinary accident. It was far more twisted than detectives could ever imagine. As the authorities removed the bodies from the vehicle, it was evident that both the victims had been
Really shot. Okay, so they didn't even try and really cover up the crime scene. They just staged it.
fatally shot.
They didn't
There were
cover it
no
up at
bullet
all.
casings, no more.
Why would bro be upside down in the front seat and why would she be crammed in the back seat? That makes no sense. That's not even, that don't happen in a wreck. You might go flying through the front windshield or you're going to get crushed up exactly where you are. You might flip around a little bit, but you're not going to the back seat getting crumpled up and you're not flipping doing a complete 360 180 in the front seat. It's not happening. And if it does happen, I mean everything. There's nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? Everything happens sometime, somewhere. But I'm just saying this ain't that instant, bro. This is not that instance at all.
Mobile phones, nothing. Autopsy reports confirmed that they were already deceased before the crash occurred. It didn't take long
Gaffled
for
up.
the authorities to discover that the deceased were Holly Williams, 33, and William Lanway, 36. As the autopsy reports came in, it showed that Lanway had sustained 2 head wounds, one near his temple on the right side, while Williams was shot in the head and the chest. The autopsy revealed that the chest wound didn't cause Holly's immediate death. She'd survived for a period before being shot in the head again. However, Lanway's wounds were fatal, taking his life instantly. Looking back into Holly's past, she had a challenging childhood. Her parents divorced when she was young, leading to a strained relationship with her mother. She moved in with her father and stepmother for a while, but eventually relocated to downtown Nashville to pursue her dreams.
That's what I'm saying, man. The country girl era, bro. She is a country girl. She from Tennessee, bro. W. Holly in the chat. That's my kind of
Holly
woman.
became an esthetician, a skincare
Yep.
professional, and tried to stay
Working
connected with
hard.
her 5 siblings despite her troubled relationship with her mother. She was especially close
That's
to
a
her
damn
sister
good
Emily,
woman right
with
there.
whom she spent every holiday.
It's a damn good woman.
William Lanway had an equally difficult upbringing. He was born on March 17, 1983 in Clarksville, Tennessee. Affectionately known as Bill, he was loved for his outgoing and
William,
energetic
he got that
personality
Bill nickname.
and was always the
Yeah,
life of the party.
that's how that goes.
However, he'd suffered
Name
significant
William.
emotional trauma.
His name Bill too.
He lost his 4-year-old daughter Madison to brain cancer on September 21, 2011, and his previous girlfriend and Madison's mother, Dana Jones, had left him. This loss deeply affected him, but he continued to immerse himself in Nashville's nightlife and party scene. Holly and Bill met in 2018 at a music festival. They had an on-again, off-again relationship characterized by a series of breakups and reconciliations. Friends and relatives described their relationship as toxic.
Only female with a bunch of dudes. What does that tell you, man? Imagine if they was all black, bro. That would be a meme. And then they just put her on the couch. No, I'm joking. This ain't funny. This
And
ain't funny.
Holly had even mentioned to her friends that she was
That ain't Holly though. That don't even look like old girl. That look like somebody else. Cause Holly, she look like that. I don't know who that is, but she ain't Holly. Holly look jolly. She look like she faded.
and relatives described their relationship as toxic, and Holly had even mentioned to her friends that she was afraid of Bill, fearing he might hurt her.
Get
Holly's
away.
relationship with Bill was
Does that mean Bill killed her and then killed himself? But how would he kill himself and then be upside down in the front seat? She had to be talking to somebody else, bro. I'm telling you. I can tell when Shorty be one of them ones, and she looked like she one of them ones, bro. And either someone dying for her or someone killing for her. I don't know which one, but she looked like she one of them ones, bro. Whenever you find her, she a little troubled, so emotionally damaged. I don't even need to say anymore. No, I don't. Look at Holly. She a damn good woman. She ain't deserve this, man. Rest in peace to Holly in the chat. Rest in peace to Holly in the chat. I'm really curious though, like, who did it? Who did it and
What I
why?
would say is toxic. I was very worried about her in the relationship. I know at times she wasn't happy.
She be having fun.
And she was also worried and scared.
She be having
So
fun.
the detectives started examining Holly's
Lots
and
of
Bill's records, and they uncovered a lengthy history of domestic disputes,
lots of
including a restraining order filed by Holly 9 days prior to the incident. This background cast suspicion surrounding their deaths. The detectives had come up with a theory. When Bill realized that Holly intended to end their relationship permanently,
killed
he
her.
may have persuaded her to join him in the car. Subsequently, he shot her before turning the gun on himself.
Too, bro. Bill ain't ever gonna find nobody like that. That's the best he'll ever get, and he never should have got that in the first place. She was drunk as mess when she met, bro. Shh. I mean, ain't no such thing as a 10, bro, but she's pushing P. And my point is, she's not a 10, bro. Whenever they're a 10, if they're an actual 10, bro, they look ugly as hell. It's just how it is. You just doing too much. Doing way too much. And everybody trying to. Holly is very close to that. Holly is still a kind of girl that's getting hollered at every time you go out with her. She just ain't a 10 because she got the family drama. You know what I'm saying? She got the troubled past. All I'm trying to say is she was drunk. She met you. She was at a low point in life. She got her confidence back, and then she ready to like be who she really meant to be. And she's like, "Hey, bro, I don't need you with me." And Bill couldn't handle it. So it seems like it would make sense if he took her out. It would make sense. That or her new dude took them both out. It was one of the two. That's my guess. It was one of the two. Huh. But he did get that one shot. He only got shot once and he instantly passed away, I'm pretty sure. Whereas with her, she got shot twice. She got shot, lived a little bit longer, and then fatally wounded. So that could make sense. It could have been him.
As the car veered off the
It
road
could have
and
been
struck a
him.
tree, Bill was already deceased, and Holly was dying in the back seat.
No, that's not what
This
happened.
theory seemed quite plausible to Holly's friends and family, who
No.
were familiar with the troublesome nature of her relationship with.
He ain't kill himself while he's driving. Niggas don't do that. He didn't shoot her. She's bleeding out, finna call 911, and then he blew. That didn't happen. Someone else killed Bill, drove her there, and then finished the job too. Has to.
Bill. Even Bill's acquaintances and relatives, who might have defended him under different circumstances, admitted to his recent behavior towards Holly. To
Okay.
them, it appeared entirely conceivable that he'd take such horrific acts. And so, the case appeared straightforward. Bill and Holly died in a murder-suicide, and the detectives were about to close the case.
No.
But there were a couple of pieces of evidence that
Didn't
didn't
add
fit
up.
that narrative. These bits were about to reveal the dark, twisted mind behind Holly and Bill's death.
Rest in peace to Bill too, man, because they family lost somebody too. And like, just think about it like this. I don't think bro did it. I just think I don't even know how to call that one, bro. He's trying to get with something he ain't. She's out of your. She's out of your level, bro. She's out of reach. That's what I'm trying to say. She's out of reach, bro. Trying to bag something that's out of reach. That's what the problem is, in my humble opinion. That's And then somebody that is. I mean, I ain't gonna say that that's within reach for like just the average Joe, but especially not no Nashville. But somebody out there, bro, that's within they reach, and they was hating on you for taking it from her ex. If it's either her ex or her new dude. She up at from Tennessee, Nashville. Shit, I stay in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Fucks with the people up in Tennessee. Fucks with the people up in Tennessee a lot. Them little country ass accents. Little Daisy Duke. Shoo. Tennessee.
A major flaw in the theory by the
Tennessee.
police was that it didn't make sense how the bodies were
Shoo.
found in the car. Bill was on the passenger side and Holly was in the back
Bill,
seat.
Bill.
It seems
Bill,
strange
not
that
the
neither of
science
them was
guy.
in the driver's seat. Maybe the crash
He would have
caused
been a
Bill
little
to
smarter,
fly
but
across
still
the
not a
car,
science guy.
but it seemed highly unlikely. It seemed more possible to think that someone else was driving. Another weird thing was
100%. He was in the passenger seat. She was found in the back
that
seat.
neither Bill nor Holly had their phones with them in the car. This was
Yeah,
odd,
setup.
especially since most people don't go anywhere without their
Oh my
phones.
gosh. I
Maybe
can't
Bill
believe.
left his phone at home on purpose to
Oh,
make it harder for any.
you can see, you know what I'm saying? She's not a perfect 10, but she is so beautiful. How you gonna? Whoever did it, they was jealous, bro. I'm telling you.
to track him. But why would Holly do the same?
Normally they be looking ugly, bro. I remember what was her name? Tina? Trina? I don't know. From that other video, bro. Well, that ain't. But yo, that's a dime. That's a dime. She a cool 9.5, and she ain't crazy. She got a little bit of crazy in her, but she ain't crazy.
Same, especially if she was worried about Bill. At this point,
She
the
crazy
case was
for
about
Dave
to
Bill,
take
bro.
a
Let me
dark
quit.
turn.
She crazy for Dave.
Regardless, the missing phone seemed like a small
Shit.
detail, but it hinted that something twisted might be going on. The fact that there was no gun found at the scene was also a big problem for the theory
Yeah.
of Bill shooting Holly and then himself. If that were true,
There
the
would
gun
be
should have
gun.
been there in the car or near the crash site,
100%.
but it wasn't. Without a gun, it was hard
What
to
dog
believe
could
that
have
Bill did it. Maybe he got rid of the gun after the shooting,
confused
but
that.
then why wasn't it found nearby?
Yeah.
Or even bullets?
Yeah.
The car didn't look like it had been in a normal crash either. All these strange things made the detectives think that maybe someone had set up the scene to make it look like a murder-suicide.
You guys fell
It
for it,
seemed
which
like
is
someone
crazy
had gone
because
to a lot of trouble to make
there's
it
no
look
way
like
that
something it wasn't.
I could tell based off of the initial information, it wasn't that. Y'all are tripping, bro.
But there wasn't anyone obvious who could have done it. Bill and Holly didn't seem to have any enemies. However, Holly had security cameras at her home, which was meant to keep an eye on Bill. And these might have captured something important.
Where'd she put that
So
at?
the detectives eagerly turned. After the latest fight between Holly and Bill, some interesting things happened. First, after Bill left, Holly took some steps to protect herself. She'd gotten a new deadbolt installed on her door because she was afraid of Bill. Not long after, Bill tried to break into her apartment, and it was all caught on camera.
There's no way in the point I'm using my department knowing that you can disable my lock. If there was any way I could just disable the default lock, then because the door lock wasn't changed, they would have come in and assaulted me.
He managed to get inside, but luckily, Holly wasn't at home at the
Call the cops again and get broke on.
time.
Why did her new man kill her too? Just kill that dude for Shorty, and then it's like you slayed the dragon for the princess up in the tower. Like Rapunzel, let down your hair. You just climbed up, slayed the dragon. You get to take Shorty home. You just killed her ex for her? Shit, she gonna marry your ass. No, she won't. She gonna think you crazy too.
But then, a group of other guys started showing up at Holly's door one after another. They were all asking for her by name, and they were all trying to hide their faces from the cameras. Then, on March 10th, 2020, 3 men came over. They were all dressed in black with their faces covered. They kept yelling Holly's name and saying they just wanted to talk. Holly was at home at that time, but she didn't trust them. She ran around until she found something called a safety bar to block the door and keep them out. Based on the way the men were behaving, especially with Holly and Bill dead, investigators found them to be extremely suspicious.
Wow.
But the problem was, the detectives couldn't figure out who they were because they
Bro, you have too many cameras on too many streets, on too many cameras on too many streets. Y'all got satellite footage, y'all got CCTV, the McDonald's, the Walmart. They had to go get that mask somewhere. The black t-shirt came from Walmart. If y'all don't start looking, bro, I know Nashville ain't this lazy, bro. With Tim Burchett up there, They is not this lazy. Quit playing.
their faces were covered.
Damn Burchett.
They'd released some pictures to the public, hoping someone might recognize them, but they didn't get any useful information. So the detectives
Someone
started
knew them.
looking into Holly's personal life, and soon things took a dramatic
I
turn.
told y'all she has too much
They
fun.
found out that she wasn't just working as an esthetician in Nashville. She had a double life. One, she wasn't really good at hiding from her friends and family. Along with her job as an esthetician, she was also working as an escort.
She not a 10, bro. She not a 10. She not a 10. So, dang, bro. If she wasn't an escort, she would be a 10. That just broke my heart. That's why it be breaking your heart about these females, man. It's just,
She'd been doing it ever since she was 18 years old, and she was pretty open about it with her friends. She used the name Layla Love for her escort work. And it turned out that Holly had some very wealthy clients who paid her a lot of money.
plans. No, she ain't a 10. No, she ain't a 10. That's why you can't be trusting these females. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Still though, rest in peace to Holly. She ain't deserve this. She ain't deserve this. Neither did Bill. But the fact that, what? Are you kidding me? This is. I gotta change this because y'all
And
can't.
it turned out that Holly had some very wealthy
No.
clients who paid her a lot of money, not just in
No.
cash,
Yeah,
but
she's
also in expensive gifts like jewelry and
she good looking.
vacations.
She is very
She
good.
couldn't afford all.
She ain't a regular escort, bro. She looking like that. How did she get into, bro? This makes me think about the whole Hepstein stuff. Hepstein, Thailand. Not Thailand, but island. But you know what I'm saying? They just, cause well, no, this is just one of those situations. It seems like a young person found the wrong path at a young age, was driven to the wrong path at a young age. It's just too much, bro. Too much going on. Holly ain't deserve it still.
The things she wanted with just her esthetician job.
Dang,
So
Holly.
she used escort work to make extra money.
Nah, you broke my heart, Holly.
Looking into Holly's clients,
Mm.
detectives were able to find a couple of leads. One of the men who showed up at her door mentioned a specific client by name. Another client, saved in Holly's phone as Jimmy Green, sent her a lot of messages before her death. But when they looked up Jimmy Green's phone number, they found out it was connected to a messaging app called Pinger, which lets people use a fake number. They got some records from Pinger, but they still couldn't figure out who Jimmy Green really was.
Crazy.
All they had was
Y'all
an
slacking
email
that
address
much.
associated with the Pinger account, but even that didn't give them much. The email address was jimmygreen34@gmail.com, but the name associated with it was Agent 47, which is a reference to a character from a video game called Hitman. It seemed like Jimmy Green was really good at covering his tracks, which made him look even more suspicious. So the police decided to take a different approach.
Was this in 1902 or some shit? Like, how can y'all not track an email?
Instead of trying to figure out if Jimmy Green had registered with his real name online, they looked into which IP address was
you.
connected to his cell phone number.
Thank you.
Then they went to different cell phone companies to see if any of them could match the IP address to one of their customers.
And they
After
did.
a lot of searching, they finally found the phone that was associated with the IP address, and it belonged to a man named Adam Carey.
He looked like
Adding
Jim
on to
Carrey.
the discovery, it was
That
found that
him?
Adam looked a lot like
Yeah, I know. This. I was wondering if this was him, but he would have had the shave going.
one of the men recorded by Holly's security camera, who had part of his face visible. It was a significant breakthrough in the
Oh, that's the nose. He just shaved. Yeah, that's you, bro.
case.
Yeah, you
Now, the
got.
detectives just needed to figure out why Adam might have wanted to hurt Holly. Adam had served in the Marines with a special ops team and then worked in private security after he was discharged. But he didn't have an easy time adjusting to civilian life. In 2016, he got in trouble for impersonating a police officer, and the police found a lot of weapons in his car, which was pretty alarming. But he only got a short prison sentence of 4 months. Adam seemed like someone who could have murdered Bill and Holly, but there was still a question of why. He didn't seem to have any connection to Holly. He lived in North Carolina at the time of the murders and not in Nashville where Holly lived. And there was no record of him ever hiring her as an escort or even meeting her. But then the police looked closer at Adam's Pinger account. They found out he'd messaged someone else too. This person was named Brian Brockway, and he wanted to hire Adam for a job. It wasn't clear what the job was at first, but Brian had a lot in common with Adam. He was also a Marine who worked in private security based in Austin, Texas, with no immediate connection to Holly. But his life was intersected with hers in the most unexpected way. Now, Adam had sent Brian a file called Tennessee SITREP on March 9th, 2020. Basically, SITREP is short for Situational Report, which is a military term for a report with detailed information about a situation. Shockingly, in this case, it was all about Bill and Holly, their schedules, when they came and went from their house, and other specific details. Adam also shared this document with another man named Gilad Peled, or Gil for short. Gil had military experience too, serving with the Israeli Defense Forces, and working in private security in Southern California. But he'd lost his job and moved to Texas, hoping to start his own security company. So he put up the Austin-based private security firm Spear Tip Security Group. And unusually, he was soon hired by a car dealership called Charles Mond Toyota, which was owned by 48-year-old Eric Mond, to deal with their trespassing issues. He was desperate for some money, so he straightaway accepted it. Now, Holly had been texting with Adam, but nobody knew how they knew each other, and there didn't seem to be any apparent connection between them.
Got a
The
little
only thing
deep
the police
quick.
could guess at this point was that Adam and Brian had been working.
This one went down a freaking hole quick, bro. Holly, why? 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 You ain't got to do that. You don't have to do that. Like, damn. This is why there aren't no perfect women anymore. Any woman you find, never judge a book by its cover. That's first, okay? Because once you look beneath the surface, the cover lied to you, bro. She ain't no way she told him she was an escort. Ain't no way he would have been beating the shit out of her. That's probably why he was beating her. Yeah. Okay, I gotta tell you, the reason I got that new Birkin bag, I sucked my boss's dick last night. Hey, if she was saying something like that, he would get out of my house. But he was in her house. She was the one bringing home the bread. That's heartbreaking though. Dang, Holly, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You could have the perfect life. What are you
in a
doing?
secret job which involved keeping an eye on Holly and Bill. It was probable that Brian had hired Adam to hurt them, but there didn't seem to be any obvious connections between Brian and Holly and Bill.
And why?
Both Brian and Adam were working with Gil, who worked for Eric Mond, the owner of the dealership. After a lot of digging, the police were finally able to connect Gil to Holly through Eric. It's a long chain of people, but it all came together in the end. Eric, the car dealer, knew Holly because he'd hired her as an escort several times. He used a fake name, Eric Moore, when he texted her in February 2020 to arrange a meeting in Nashville. But after that, he didn't reach out to Holly again. However, he did text with Bill, Holly's boyfriend. Now, it's not clear if Bill was involved in Holly's escort work or what he knew, but a month after Eric's trip to Nashville, Bill had hacked into Holly's escort account and found some information about her clients. Then he tried to blackmail Eric, threatening to expose him if he didn't pay up. Instead of paying, Eric reached out to his private security guard, Gil. At first, Eric just wanted Gil to find out who Holly really was, but Gil himself had reached out to some other people for help. His findings would lead to a chilling realization. Eventually, Adam had realized that Holly wasn't trying to extort money from Eric, but Bill was. It's not clear how he figured it out, but he untangled the whole complicated situation. So Adam decided to do something about it. He sent messages to both Bill and Holly on the Pinger app, and then he followed Bill to the grocery store. It's unclear if Bill knew he was being followed, but he called Eric, presumably to pressure him for money. Then Brian told Gil that he and Adam were authorized to kill both Bill and Holly if necessary. The day after that, on March 12, 2020, Holly and Bill were taken. So far, the details were murky, but the security cameras at Holly's apartment revealed the truth. The detectives were unprepared for the terrifying, gruesome scenes captured in the CCTV recordings. Holly and Bill left around 11:40 p.m. in this clip. After Holly and Bill left the frame of the security camera, it recorded the sound of a car starting, followed by multiple gunshots and the sound of a man and a woman yelling. Nobody.
You expect me to believe they had no idea what happened to these people the entire time? Whenever there was footage of everything, that's how I know it's cap. That's how I know it's cap. This is the craziest thing ever. So he found out about her escorting. He said, all right, if you're going to be an escort, I'm going to blackmail all the people that you're sleeping with. And he stays with her. He tries making money off it.
in the apartment complex
That
heard
makes me
any of
sick.
this. It was only captured by the security camera. The police came up with a new theory based on this footage. They speculated that Adam and Brian attacked the couple right after they left the apartment, shooting Bill intentionally because he was the one behind the blackmailing. Then, accidentally, they'd hit Holly in the chest. Realizing that they had two bodies to dispose of, they drove Holly's car to a dump site. Once there, they realized Holly was still alive, so they shot her once again, this time in the head. They left the car in drive mode, allowing it to roll into the woods. Gas station security footage showed Adam and Brian driving to Memphis, Tennessee after the murders. Adam dropped Brian off at the Memphis airport, and then Adam drove back to North Carolina. Strangely, after these events, Eric left an online review for Gil's security company, SpearTip. He praised their professionalism and efficiency, which struck some as odd given the circumstances. The FBI discovered Eric had paid the three killers nearly $1 million combined. Despite the complex investigation, the police lacked direct evidence linking Eric to the murders. They needed a confession to prove the murders were premeditated and authorized by him. Rather than immediately interrogating the suspects, which could alert them and lead to potential flight, the police devised a plan involving Brian's brother, Chad Brockway. Chad, unaware of the murder plot's details, agreed to cooperate with the investigation and even went undercover to gather more information. Chad had contacted Adam and discussed another potential murder for hire. Adam was surprisingly open about the details and quoted a rate of $60,000 for the job. Chad then wore a wire to a meeting with Brian, hoping to gather more information.
His own brother set him up.
Brian eventually opened up, discussing Eric, Holly, and Bill in detail. He admitted to his involvement in the murders and even seemed proud of overpowering and killing Bill. He mentioned that Adam was the one who killed Holly and expressed admiration for Adam's willingness to shoot a woman.
Some of the problems that we ran into last time is we had to take them at the same time, dude. She wound up still breathing. And, he finished it in the back seat. And you got my respect. I totally got my respect for that. You know, a lot of guys with females, yeah, you'll probably.
Brian, Adam, and Gil were all arrested on December 10th, 2021. The police coordinated the arrests to happen simultaneously to prevent any suspects from fleeing.
Yep.
However, they'd waited to arrest Eric because they still lacked any evidence to directly link him to the murders.
You coming too, buddy?
The investigators were confident that the hired killers wouldn't take the fall for Eric, so they devised a plan to gather evidence against him. They persuaded Gil to dial Eric and demand more money, pretending that Adam wanted additional payment to keep quiet about the hit.
We got a problem with one of the shooters in Nashville. He found out that you were the client that paid for this, for the job.
I'll pay the guy $25,000, but I think it needs to go away after that.
So we need to take care of him.
he did a solid for me, and I appreciate it for that. But I just want to make sure it's, in 6 months down the road, he's not going to pop back up. Honestly, I think I'd rather take care of it permanently, and then I'll just run 150 through Spear Tip, like we did last time.
Eric's response incriminated him, confirming to the police that he had
It's crazy. You see how quick he was ready just to wash up one of them? He said, honestly, I feel like it'd be better if we just kill one of them, and then we can just run 150 through Spear Tip. I'll give your company $150,000 again, and we can just wash that dude up for good and not have to worry about anything. Bro's married. Bro's married. I see why you would bag a Holly, but I wouldn't bag a Holly when she's an escort sleeping around 1,000 niggas. Yeah, she a 10, but once you just start selling yourself, you become a 0. You lose all your value, and that's the sad part is, like, I hate saying this, but like it's the truth. For a guy, the way guys look at it is, and like this don't always work because if you got a good woman, she gonna not want to be with a guy that slept with everybody. But like when you talking to the boys, it's like a looked at kind of like street cred. How many you bag? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got 50. Oh, I'm at 150. You know what I'm saying? How many you bag? Oh, you only at 20. Oh, you only got one. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with only having one, bro. Like that means a loyal person is someone you can trust. Tell you that. Um, but just the way guys be playing around, they be like, yeah, no, he a wimp. He's scared to stick it in. He a wimp. But with girls, you have one, that's too many, bro. I need to be the one and only dude to be up in. Like that's mine. At the same time, it just depends because you don't want a girl that's like don't know what she doing. But you also don't want no girl that's been ran through, bro. That's whenever the diseases come into play. And we ain't playing none of that, bro. At all. None of that. Yo, Fluff, I didn't mean to do that. I ain't playing none of that, bro. At all. At all.
indeed ordered the murders. Eric was arrested during a hunting trip the
Yep.
very next day after the call.
Yep.
During the trial, federal prosecutors wanted the jury to see home surveillance footage showing Carrie right outside Holly's door. FBI Special Agent David Somm testified about the undercover sting operations he designed, which ultimately cracked the case. He believed this was the only way to truly understand what happened in Nashville.
I took the big duties of fighter, man. Caught my hand in the door. When he did, it bent the entire frame of the door.
On the undercover audio tape, Brian was almost bragging to the undercover informant. He boasted about taking down a big guy, making it sound like he was creating his own business line and running his own company. From the wiretap, it seemed he was trying to build a reputation, likely exaggerating. This tape was supported by much of the evidence found in the case.
Wash yourself up.
Prosecution star witness Gil was crucial. Despite being a liar and profiteer, he knew he'd done wrong and wanted to tell the truth to the jury. He testified that he got involved because he needed money, with the security business suffering due to COVID, and he had a family to support. Perhaps the most impactful part of the prosecution's case was when they played footage of Bill and Holly being shot. The courtroom fell silent as everyone watched the horrifying video. It was rare to have audio from an actual kidnapping and murder. Prosecutors also played another key piece of audio evidence, an undercover tape of Brian Brockway discussing Holly's killing. The recording confirmed that Holly was alive and terrified when they reached the dump site. Brockway said Adam was the one who shot Holly to death, earning his respect for finishing the job.
Some of the problems that we ran into last time, she wound respectfully.
Dreams during his interrogation with FBI Special Agent David Somm, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. The defense, however, tried to discredit Gil Peled, claiming he lied to save himself and received a favorable sentencing deal for his testimony. They agreed that Gil couldn't be trusted, highlighting his deceit about being a former Israeli intelligence agent and initially downplaying his role in the murder-for-hire plot. Chad Brockway, Brian's brother, testified that Gill had lied to him from the start, saying the case involved a client whose daughter was a victim of sex trafficking. This wasn't the case, as revealed by the indictment. The defense also tried to suggest
Saying he's Israeli intelligence. Holly is a very beautiful woman and an escort, and she started when she was 18. I feel like no 18-year-old just starts their own escort business. Like, unless you just like know the blueprint or you looked it up and it was just like pretty cut and dry clear on how you can do it. I mean, I don't know. Like, here's the website, just create a profile and people hit you up. I mean, it could be that simple, but I just don't. It's just strange with the whole Epstein stuff because he's allegedly IDF, yeah, Israeli Defense Force, indirect fire. He's apparently IDF, indirect fire. So, what if there's more to this story that they just don't want us to know?
other explanations for the murders, including implicating Holly's clients. They aimed to cast doubt on Eric Maughan's involvement, pointing out that the lack of a clear admission of guilt in the undercover call.
No,
In their closing arguments, the defense emphasized that star witness Gill benefited the most, receiving $905,000. Despite their efforts, the prosecution's evidence was strong. Given the severity of their crimes, all three criminals are facing mandatory life sentences and will have separate hearings later in 2024. Attorneys for Adam and Brian
it's
had declined
2025,
to comment,
bitch.
while Eric's legal team intended to seek an appeal on the verdict. Detective Cuthbertson expressed relief that investigators were able to bring the perpetrators to justice. However, he also acknowledged that there was still no way to fill the void left by the murders. Before we end this video, we want to express our heartfelt condolences to
And that's why she was with him, bro. That's why you see a 10 with a. She ain't a 10, bro. She was selling herself. She could have been a 10. She could be a 10. She chose not to be. That's breaks my heart. That breaks my heart, man. Rest in peace to Bill, bro. Rest in peace to Holly. I can't quit looking at her. She's so attractive, and for this to be the situation, it blows my mind. Blows my mind. Breaks my heart, y'all. Anyways, guess I'm showing my colors a little too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm human. Can't help it. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Peace.